Trump spoke at the Economic Club in New York City today and was asked a question from a woman, mind you, about what specifically he'll do to reduce childcare costs if he's elected. And his answer was a complete disaster.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that, and we're sitting down. I was somebody, we had Senator Marco Rubio, and my daughter Ivanka was so impactful on that issue. It's a very important issue. But I think when you talk about the kind of numbers that I'm talking about, that, because look, childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. But when you talk about those numbers compared to the kind of numbers that I'm talking about by taxing foreign nations at levels that they're not used to, but they'll get used to it very quickly. And it's not going to stop them from doing business with us, but they'll have a very substantial tax when they send product into our country. Those numbers are so much bigger than any numbers that we're talking about, including childcare, that it's going to take care. We're going to have, I look forward to having no deficits within a fairly short period of time, coupled with the reductions that I told you about on waste and fraud and all of the other things that are going on in our country. Because I have to stay with childcare. I want to stay with childcare, but those numbers are small relative to the kind of economic numbers that I'm talking about, including growth, but growth also headed up by what the plan is that I just told you about. We're going to be taking in trillions of dollars, and as much as childcare is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kind of numbers we'll be taking in. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. It's about make America great again. We have to do it because right now we're a failing nation. So we'll take care of it. Thank you.
Now, we don't need any more reminders that Donald Trump just simply can't talk to women, but also that the guy has no goddamn idea what he's talking about when it comes to the children of the United States of America. And this guy wants to be president? Well, I'm going to make other countries pay more. And I'm going to make America great again. That's how I do it, kids. Are you fucking kidding me, Donald Trump? Now, this comes just a day after J.D. Vance was asked kind of the same question and also gave one of those head-scratching answers.
What can we do about lowering the cost of daycare? Hayden, obviously a working family, and it's very hard for working families to get by. How will we lower the cost of daycare?
Such an important question, Charlie. And I think one of the things that we can do is make it easier for family models to choose, or for families to choose whatever model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more, or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare. Now, you talk about just daycare. Let's say you don't have somebody who can provide that extra set of hands. What we've got to do is actually empower people to get trained in the skills that they need for the 21st century. We've got a lot of people who love kids, who would love to take care of kids, but they can't, either because they don't have access to the education that they need, or maybe more importantly, because the state government says you're not allowed to take care of children unless you have some ridiculous certification that has nothing to do with taking care of kids. So empower people to get the skills they need. Don't force every early child care specialist to go and get a 6-year college degree where they've got a whole lot of debt and Americans are much poorer because they're paying out the wazoo for daycare. Empower working families, empower people who want to do these things for a living, and that's what we got to do.
All right.
Donald Trump already has a massive problem with women because he stripped them of their reproductive rights. And he's also had a pretty, bad history of relationships with women. So this is just another kind of example of the fact that Donald Trump is a terrible person, doesn't really care about kids or women or families, and would be a disaster for the country if he were to be elected. It's also kind of, if we look at the other side, if we look at Kamala Harris, that's why she and Tim Walz talk a lot about children during their speeches, because they want to ensure American families and mothers that they care about kids and the next generation of Americans. And so that's really kind of what this boils down to, is you've got people who want to vote for Donald Trump because it serves them. And then you've got everybody else who know that Kamala Harris's policies will not only serve Americans today, but Americans tomorrow. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, of course, they're clowns, and they have no real answers for how to help the future generations of America. Let me know your thoughts about Donald Trump's just kind of moronic comments here. Also, what J.D. Vance said about childcare, and what you think of Kamala and Tim Walz's strategy of talking about children and the future of our country. Let me know what your reflections are down in the comments below, and subscribe to Reflect if you haven't already, so that you get my future videos about the election in your inbox. Thanks for watching. My name is Brendan Plank with Reflect here on YouTube. See you in the next video.